Me.
All right, Philip, Michael Prather.
Count.
Yeah, Michael Prather.
Teachers.
All right, let's take the vote right now. Who thinks Michael Prather's gonna get thrown out of this class by the end of the day? I already know. Okay, so the 6 personal perspectives are something that is a fundamental, it's just fundamental to the way that you conduct your business. It's always a good thing to kind of go back through it. For you guys that don't know, my name's Amy Barron. I've been a realtor for about 15 or 16 years, I think. We have a real estate team out of Georgetown, and we love selling real estate. So the 6 personal perspectives, here are the steps. The first one is commit to self-mastery. Now you guys will get a booklet. So you guys, and it'll have all this on there, so you don't have to write it down if you don't want to. The second one is commit to the 80-20 principle. We'll go into depth with all of those. My favorite one is step 3, which is move from E to P. You know what? I think I can. There they are. Step number 4 is making being learning based the foundation of your action plan. Number 5 is remove your limiting beliefs, which we all have. And step 6 is to be accountable. Now, you know, you would think that this is something that people would kind of feel like, yeah, I already know this. But I can tell you just from, if any of you guys have been to Bold before, each time you take Bold, you're in a different place each year. So you hear different things each year. Same thing with this. The 6 personal perspectives are how to get you kind of back into the foundation and kind of recentered on your business and the things that you should be doing that maybe you're not doing.
So sorry.
Hey, girls, come on in.
So sorry. Take a quick Sorry. Thanks for letting us stop this.
So these are things that you can always come back to within your business to kind of make sure that you're being focused on where you're at. I mean, how many times, I mean, who knows what the definition of committing to self-mastery is? Michael Prather? Yeah.
Well, I think, you know, there's a saying about practicing something to the point of getting it right.
Yep.
Versus practicing it to the point that you can't get it wrong.
Yep.
So, you know, self-mastery is, and I'll just use, you know, FSBO scripts as an example. That you're committed to have that script so down that you've moved to the far last level of being an unconscious competent,
right? That
now you can truly listen and have a conversation with somebody to self-discover, help them self-discover what their needs are to move them in the direction that you're hoping, which is an eventual listening to get it all the way to a closing, and you're, you know, committing to be the master at that particular task, and you can master a bunch of different things.
Yep, that's exactly right. That everybody has things that they work on a daily basis to commit to self-mastery. That's why everybody that, I mean, when I first came to KW years ago, I don't know how many years it is now, maybe 7 years ago or so. I'm like, they're like, you gotta do script practice. I'm like, I don't represent like that. I'm not doing that. I'm not script practice. I'm not even getting there to sound like a robot. But the purpose of the script practice is not for you to sound like a robot. It's for you to be a professional. So that when somebody hands you an objection, you understand how to take care of it and how to respond to it immediately, to where you're not like, I mean, how many times have you guys been in a listing presentation or even reviewing a contract and you don't know how, when somebody asks you a question about the contract, you don't know what they ask. That's because you haven't committed to self-mastery on the contract. And those things. So I want you guys to kind of reflect on what are some of the things that you guys feel like are gaps in your business. Commit to self-mastery on those. You know, one thing I felt like was a gap in my business, it wasn't really a script or anything. It was, hey Vanessa, it was it wasn't necessarily a scripting thing or anything like that. There was a gap in the way that I was reviewing finances in the business. And so what I did was, in order to force myself to do self-mastery on that, I time blocked 15 minutes every single day, Monday through Friday, for me to review my finances. Only 15 minutes. So every day when I got up, what I would do is I would look into my bank accounts. You know, if you're running a business, you need to know where your money's at. So I would look at my bank accounts. I would look to see, okay, where's this going? And now it's something that I feel like I need to get back into on a weekly basis, not necessarily a daily basis. So self-mastery is from, you guys put down the gaps as a group, as a team, as an individual, and figure out where it is your gaps are. And then you turn around and you just start practicing the self-mastery on those. If it is a scripting issue, if you are struggling when you have an open house to convert people from an open house to give you the information, you need to script that with somebody. That's creating self-mastery. And I'll give you a little tip. I remember when I was productivity coach years ago, I had this guy, he was super excited. He had an open house. We got him all set up for the open house. I'm like, dude, how many people came to your open house? He's like, it's amazing. 20. Well, okay, great. How many people are you gonna call? He's like, what are you talking about? Nobody would agree to sign in. I'm like, what do you mean they wouldn't agree to sign in? Which you're gonna have that. So here's what you need to do. When people walk into your open house, you set a piece of paper on the table and you say, for security purposes, the sellers requested all buyers to sign in before viewing the house. Problem solved. Next weekend, he had another open house and he got 13 people's contact information to put in his database. Those type of things, as you're running through your business, you need to look for the gaps.
Especially now, okay, that always.
Contact
tracing. Yeah, make sure.
Yeah, contact tracing. Do COVID. Let's do that. Right, we got some packets. Okay.
Anyway, Jen has got us, we've downloaded a input sheet, like a lead tracker form.
Yeah.
So we've got this, so when they do come in here, you know, cards they're for fish bowls for giveaways. So we get their information and we can put all their information right here. Because we're gonna type it in on our notes, why not just go on and type it in here?
Yeah.
And then we send it and it goes to our thing, so, you know, it's just an Apple grade.
Yeah.
So that becomes a system, you know.
That's right.
So as Amy's describing, there's a bunch of ways to go about doing whatever. Just, you got to figure out what that system is in
Mhm.
order to master that piece. And with the Command mobile app, so we're using just an input sheet as a team.
Yep.
But just go right to your Command, mobile app and put the contact in right there on the fly. But
Mhm.
just whatever you get comfortable with.
Yep.
We don't use the sign-in sheet in particular.
Mhm.
But you still got to get the information, and I've just had better luck with me typing my own stuff in or writing it so I can read my own handwriting.
Mhm.
But you figure out what works for you, but the key thing is, the reason we're lead generating is to do what?
Good listings.
Yeah, gonna get contacts.
Add to the database, yeah. And, and to your all's point, if you guys have a system like that people will sign in on, and it goes directly to your CRM, that's great. Old people like myself like paper. I get a paper and I come back and I set it down on the table and say, put this in the database. Because most of the time, if it's technical, I'm just not gonna get it. It's just the way it is, but it's probably an issue of I haven't taken care of to get that done. So
It's called limited belief.
that's correct. That is correct. And a techno problem.
He is
Or-
reminding you to keep going.
He is. At step 5, I bring it up now.
Be the bouncer.
That's right. Jeff, take care of you. Okay. So we're gonna start talking about the 6 personal perspectives being defined. And so you guys will, Kelsey's gonna start bringing in the manuals and everything, so you guys will be able to see this, and then we'll get back on track. We're not too far in it at all. The 6 personal perspectives. What is it that differentiates those who achieve at the highest level from those who don't seem to accomplish as much? After thoroughly researching this question, Gary discovered that all high achievers have 3 basic attributes in common: mindset, attitudes, and approach to life. If you're a player hater, guess what? You might have a hard time if it's player hater about everything. Mindset is key. When you interview the very top people and ask them what their biggest challenge is, invariably they will tell you it's the mindset. They keeping it strong, focused, and positive amid the many challenges they encounter every day on their way to the top. As we talked about a few minutes ago, these are the 6 things that we're going to talk about today. Typically, this is done in a 2-hour class or a 2-day class. We're going to just smack it on out today. So I know you don't have time. Commitment to self-mastery means I'm going to nail it. I'm going to master this. The commitment to the 80-20 principle is that you're going to focus on your big rocks. Moving from E to P, it means you are purposeful and about breaking through their ceiling of achievement. Make being learning based the foundation of your action plan means that you're willing to be taught and you always pursue learning. Guys, I think that's probably one of the biggest things that shifted. You guys have the opportunity to go to any regional events, any national events such as Family Reunion, Mega Camp. Get it on your calendar and start planning it out. Keller Williams has 3 major events each year. The biggest one is Family Reunion that's held in February, usually around Valentine's Day, and it rotates around the country. I think it's going to be Anaheim next year. The second largest one is Mega Camp, and that is always in Austin in August. And the third one, they have spring and summer masterminds. Now, Family Reunion is going to have about 20 to 40,000 people, I guess, depends. Mega Camp will probably have about 3,000 to 5,000 or so, maybe 6, depends. And then even the masterminds are going to get even a little bit more intimate than that, maybe 1,200, 2,000 people. And going and meeting other people around and even in the region kind of gets you in a different state of mind. You're able to kind of see things in a different way and see things from the outside. Remove your limiting beliefs, like Michael Prather called me out on. I unlimit my thinking and my success and be accountable. It's mine, I own it. An individual's mindset holds the key to what they can accomplish. Attitudes and beliefs, your personal perspectives determine this mindset. So if you think you know it all and you don't need any help, make that up. Get rid of that. Go start learning from other people as well.
Gary Keller doesn't know it all.
He does it. Yeah. So, all right. Let's go to the next one. Oh. That's what I just read. It's fine, I own it. So these are the things that we're going to be talking about today. All right. In your all's booklets, yeah, if not, you can write it down. Here's power perspective, your challenge. How would you change? What would you do that you're waiting to get done because you think you will be here forever? What 3 things would you like to accomplish in your life? Let's write those things down. You guys don't have booklets yet.
Personal or on business related.
Anything. Okay, so, all right. Now that you guys have kind of thought about it a little bit, I mean, what is something that you would like to accomplish in life that you haven't achieved yet? Just throw it out. We got Trisha. Time with family. Okay, love it. All right.
Leveraging my entire real estate.
What'd you say?
Leveraging it for.
Leveraging, love it. Okay. Maybe we got. That's
A whole
amazing.
other house.
Okay, Dr. Prather, where you go?
Ooh,
Just
struggle
one,
with this one.
one sentence. Just one sentence.
Build out my property on Lake Tahoe.
Love it. We got Mark, Chip, who you got?
Self-wealth. You
Okay.
wanna Build the wealth. That's-
Yeah.
Mine's health, tip-top shape and health, because
Okay.
without it, all this other stuff.
Okay, anybody else want to share?
Yeah, start walking the golf course, instead of driving a car.
Oh, shit.
There you go. That's
Hey,
accountability
he's
right
doing
there.
really well, but we're gonna get him off the golf course as much as he has been.
I mean, poor Chip, man, Chip, that is true though.
But you gotta have some play with work and learn.
That's right.
Yes, I do.
I decompress, like I look at that little ball and I pick somebody out mad at me. That's how I decompress. Yeah, you should be able to take it out different ways, and I don't do that stuff anymore. So,
I mean, that's what it is. So as you guys are reflecting on these things, on the 6 personal perspectives, when you're reflecting on the challenges, let's go ahead and circle. If you guys wrote down more than one, let's go ahead and circle the one that you feel like is most important. High achievers all have a reality mindset. That is the first thing they do when they recognize what they are and proactively take action based on that reality. Without the reality check, many people are under the delusion that they are farther along than they actually are. Let me tell you something. If you ask me how much time that I spent lead generating, I would be like 2 hours. It was 20 minutes. Okay, so I'm just saying, just be real about yourself, because I've done this. If you want to know exactly where you're at, write down what you're doing every 15 minutes.
You probably spent more than 20 minutes using it.
I'm just real effective. I'm like, you want to buy a house or not? Yes or no? Click. Let's go. That's it. That's all you got to do. They don't care about.
I had thought that too about a FISBO script. You get really good at it in
Yep.
your brain. Then you just want to go, let's get down here to the bottom. You
Yep.
know, and ask that closing question,
Right.
That's
you
what I do.
know, and they're either in or out, you know?
Yeah, they don't-
Here.
Well, a lot of times they're out, but before you get done, they're in. Because this guy told me no 3 times a day, and I got an appointment next Tuesday.
There you go. There you go.
I had to recalibrate the way I was attacking him and get onto his level. Conversing. Well, I was like, Michael says I need to let him breathe, but.
Well, you're helping them out. It is what it is, but at the end of the day, people don't care how long you've been in the business. They want to know, can you help me? Do you care about me? And whatever the third one is, I always work.
What's it gonna cost me?
Yeah. So, so get to the point. Nobody cares how long you've been in business. They don't care about your designations. If they do, they'll ask. But your lead gen should be very quick and to the point, like, I'm an examiner, I'm a realtor. Got some buyers, you think about selling your house.
And to that point right now, everybody please get into your shift book, and tactic 4 that we were just talking about is find the motivator. you
Yeah.
know, And that's always the case in lead generation, is helping people identify whatever their motivation is, because it's not, us of what we want attacking, it's, us understanding, helping them understand what their motivations are. You can't help the unmotivated.
That's right.
That's why Chip came at him 3 different times, all of a sudden figure out, daggone, I do have a motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Said, I don't want to pay a realtor, and I had it explained by, when a professional do what you're trying to do, this is what it prevents. Is what I went to, the multiple offers, the kick out clauses protects him. what are you gonna do if all this happens and the legal paperwork gets behind selling a $700,000 property? And it changes. Plus, I'm gonna be in town that night anyway, I'm gonna listen for him, so.
Might as well.
Can I stop by and see you before or after dinner? He said before, and I said, okay.
All right. Say I see it. See you then. That's all you gotta do. Just keep going. He's committed to self-mastery and he's worked on that. Let's do a reality check. Let's write down what we just circled. What's your goal? Whether it's health, whether it's whatever it is. I want you to answer these questions. You guys should have some circles that look like this in your book when you get your booklet. How are you doing with your goal? How do you feel about that? And what will your future look like if you do not achieve your goal? This can be done on several different categories. This doesn't, I mean, you can do this on all three of the ones that you wrote down. You know, I mean, I think Vanessa's might be getting a new pool. I don't know. Might be her goal. At her house, pool party. I saw her on Facebook and I called the guys myself. I'm not lying about it. A goal without a plan is just a wish. The more granular you can get with the goals that you have and take the time to write them out, the easier it's going to be for you to hit those goals. Take it step by step, day by day, and move forward towards it. Okay. Chip, how do you feel about this exercise?
Well, I'm doing a lot of work on trying to be a better father.
All right, I love it.
And all my kids happen to be here right now. So in order to do that, I need to learn how to communicate with my grown-up kids because I was an absentee dad when they were young. Let's be honest about it, you know.
Mhm.
And it's hard for me to say that. So what I had to do is first of all, make time. You know, I was a Disney dad for a long time. What can I get my kids to make them feel better?
Mhm.
All they wanted was time.
That's right.
Time to spend time with me, Dad. And so I've learned that from older men that I'm associated with. What did you all do when this happens? And I don't know if y'all ever heard of Al-Anon, but it has to do with relationships and stuff. So I see an Al-Anon counselor twice a week who is a black belt in Al-Anon, 15 years in it. And I use her to help me create healthy boundaries with my children, which is going to make me a better brother, a better partner, a better employee. You know, it's not all about me. I'm not that important because I think I am.
How are you doing with your goal?
Much better.
How do you
Well,
feel about that?
that's my.
I mean, how do you feel about it?
Truly, in the past, like 30 days, I can see a tremendous difference in Chip. You know,
Mhm.
But you have to commit to it.
You have to commit to it.
It's
That's right.
action. You can talk all you want to, but it's a plan of action. And you know, I try to be here every morning on the Zoom call at 8:30, and if I'm not, I'm in my car. It's basically retraining and programming your mindset to, if you want to achieve these things that Gary has created, that Michael has spent years to develop with Jen, then you got to suit up and show up. If not, you're just whistling in the dark.
That's right.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge that I see from people that transition from, a different job, the benefit of having a job from, like, you go in there, you know what you have to do, you go home, people leave you alone. The biggest challenge is people love real estate for the freedom, the flexibility, and the financial, but you're not gonna get the financial if you don't, and the freedom, if you make yourself too flexible. If you have to treat it like a job, and that's the biggest thing. Show up in the morning, do your lead gen, do your follow-ups, go on your appointments, negotiate contracts, script and role play, and you're done for the day. That's what it is. The more intentional and the more specific you can get in your schedule, the more successful you're gonna be. It doesn't take working 40 to 50 hours a week in real estate if you're intentional with your time. It will feel like that if you're not intentional about your time. But honestly, you can, I know you're gonna have, you'll go through more cycles and more phases when you're out running around showing houses and things like that. But if you know exactly what you're supposed to do on a daily basis, just execute it and move on. You didn't have a choice at your other job. But here you give yourself too much flexibility and freedom some days. I do, I'm guilty of that. I'm like, do I want to work today? No. Okay, well, I'm watching Maury today. And that's what I'm gonna do. I need to find out who that baby's daddy is. I guess, and I'm usually right all the time. That's my mindless entertainment. Oh, thank you.
Who else needs one?
Who else needs one? Two. Right, you are not the father. I knew they looked just alike. Maury got it wrong. But I'm just saying, and so, how much business did I lose over the years by letting myself be a slacker when I would be held accountable to another job that I work for somebody else? It's easy to let yourself off the hook.
Let's been watching Springer.
I know. I like Gary too. I'm not gonna lie. So, all right, let's talk about committing to the self-mastery. Self-mastery is the possession of great knowledge, skills, and habits that make you the master of you. When you commit to achieving self-mastery, you know your goals, you know your strengths and weaknesses. That's really important, guys, to know your strengths and weaknesses. If you guys haven't taken a KPA or had somebody review that KPA with you, make sure that you get that done. And know how to work with both your strengths and weaknesses to reach your goals. A lot of times, I think Brooke was talking about leveraging the real estate business. That was one of your goals, to start doing some leverage. You'll do that leverage based on KPA on some of your weaknesses. That's where you'll start. Because if somebody asked me to do, I do like them sometimes, but if I have to do stuff that are a lot detail oriented all the time, I'm probably just gonna quit. I'm just, that's just not how my brain operates. I have to move fast. I like things to change. I like to do things differently. But that's how you do that. You have to know what your strengths and weaknesses are. If you like technology, which I don't, I have to have somebody help me with that. I could learn it. I just don't want to. So, and then know how to work with both your strengths and weaknesses to reach your goals. Mastery is the possession of great knowledge, skills, and habits that make one the master of a subject. It's a journey, not an event. Has anybody read this book called The Outliers? My friend, have you read Outliers? Oh, sorry.
Yes, I have.
Okay. It's another, claims the key to mastery in any field is roughly 10,000 hours of practice. 10,000 hours of practice. Let's do the math. How many
5
years? Yeah. 5 years?
At 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah, it's a lot of time. And if you're spending, an 15 minutes to 30 minutes a day doing script practice or things like that, it's going to take you a lot longer than that in order to hit that self-mastery. I think there was something that on the MREA book, I think you have to read it 12 times a year for a certain amount of years in order to be able to master that book. That's the red book.
Think about this concept of 10,000 hours. That
Yeah.
Very few people ever get to 10,000 hours in anything because it requires passion on that task.
It does.
That's why most people don't get to 10,000 hours because it's just difficult. And that's why it's so important to really figure out through the KPA, what your strengths and skills are, what you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're committing to this self-mastery. It's like swinging a golf club, you know, if you just sit there and hit that 9 iron over and 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 over, you know, in due time, if you get to 10,000 hours, you're knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
You know, you're crushing. So that's the concept behind that book, and very few people are getting 10,000 hours.
Another, yeah, I mean, and that's definitely valid. I mean, another thing that you could look at, and our team did this a few months ago, we did a unique abilities test. Unique abilities. And what you do is you go down and you just write down everything that you do in your job in one day. And you just write down, like, what does your job entail? And then from there, you categorize each one of those jobs, and you put things that you are passionate about in one box. You put them in 4 different boxes. The first one you're passionate about, you could do it every day for the next 25 years, and you would love it. The second box is you do it really good, but you kind of take it or leave it. The third one is you have to do it. You don't love it, but you do it. And then the last one is, I don't have anything to do with it, you know? And it was amazing to me that a lot of times we're spending a lot of our time in that third category versus the first category. So if you're wanting to leverage a team, leverage real estate transactions and things like that, that would be a great task to do as well. To figure out how much time are you spending in your unique abilities, because if it's not very much, you're not going to be very satisfied in your job long term. So mine, it's teaching, coaching, mentoring. That is my unique ability that I've identified, and I would spend a lot of stuff in my third category. And then I had them help me. So I don't spend as much time with that. Now Darian and Haley get to go do talk projects, and they get to give updates to realtors, and they get to talk to everybody. So I can spend more time doing stuff like this.
Anyone else need?
Anybody else? Jamie, need this? Okay. These things. Chip, you're hot flashing.
I know.
All right, step one, put the pieces together to achieve self-mastery. So let's go with, let's do an example. Oh, video. All right. Exercise. Let's achieve goals through self-mastery. List 3 obstacles that you think may hinder you in the achievement of the goal that you wrote. Got one thing. What's going to get in your way? A lot of times it's going to be just yourself. It's going to be a lot of it. Consult and discuss with your partner so you're sure to dig deep. It's not always the most obvious choice. I mean, do we have partners in this class? Is that what they're saying? Or is this for you to go home? Or is this for you to go home? Okay. So I want to go over something. Yeah, that's fine. I want to talk about, as you guys are working through this, putting the pieces together of a puzzle for this. If I need to go backwards, how do I go backwards? Do you know?
This one,
All right.
that one, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So if your goal, let's say for example, your goal was to master prospecting. Let's talk about strengths and weaknesses. Maybe your strength is you're good with people, but your weakness is you're uncomfortable bringing up business. You know, people think you're a stalker. Nobody likes a stalker. And I will tell you, they don't like stalkers. And almost every single time,
What are you talking about?
I mean, I'm telling you what, when I met with somebody on new construction last week, and they called through the website or whatever, and so I met them over there in this neighborhood. And so they're walking around, and I don't know these people. And I said, they were going to leave, and I was like, okay, I'll send you guys some more information. So I said, I'm going to tell you something before y'all leave. I'm not a stalker. I flat out tell people I'm not a stalker. I'm not going to hound you. I'm not going to chase you. If you want to work with me, great. you know, I will wish you well and you're going way. Maybe some people might not agree with that, but sometimes when you go into, people kind of start doing this to you. When you tell them you're not a stalker, they start relaxing. I'm just telling you, just try it once. Tell people you're not a stalker.
Now, what would your follow-up look like with them? You know, you're saying, hey, I'm not a stalker, so,
Yeah.
you know, if you'll work with me, let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're still gonna follow up to
That's right.
pursue that as a, you know, potential piece of business.
Yeah, so I said, so the other day, I told him, I said, I'll send you some information. So I didn't send it to him at that time because I didn't have it all. So I sent him a message. I said, hey, I haven't forgotten about you guys. I'm still working with the builder to try to get that updated price on that house. I'll get back with you. And she's like, I knew you were busy. I know that, but they, like, okay.
Just give it back. All about transparency.
Yeah, it's about transparency.
Let them know.
Great communication.
That's not your fault.
Yeah.
It's not like you're bothering him. It's
Mhm.
just like, hey, just checking in, like, you know, I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like all the new construction we're driving
That's
through
all
right now.
people
Sometimes.
want.
Yeah, they just, even
They
if you
just
say, hey,
want to know that they feel valued and they feel like they are important.
hey, I'm just gonna follow up with an update. The update is I have nothing to update you.
That's right.
You know,
That's
they
right.
should at least still getting them that communication.
Well, and that goes with agents too. If you got agents on the other side of a transaction, especially if you represent new construction, that's what you have to do. Like I go out every Monday or Tuesday, walk around and I send pictures of it. And I send it to the agent because I don't want, because I've had people call the builder directly and say that they're not getting communicated with. And I said, let me tell you something right now. That's not on me. That's on your realtor because I send them a message every single day. Because I've had the builder come and go get crazy on me and I just screenshotted everything and said, there you go. They said, that's what we figured. So I just walked through there and now Darren's gonna start doing it now. And she's gonna, once a week, on Mondays or Tuesdays. Now, I don't do it until I can get to drywall, but I set that expectation in advance and I say, once we get to drywall, then I will update you every week to kind of give you the status. I don't know why people aren't stalking their houses when they're being built anyway. I mean, but that's just me. I mean, when I was building a house, I'm there twice a day. Twice a day.
Pictures.
So I just go
Not a
through.
lot yet.
No, I just go through and I take a picture in front of the house to be in frame today. If I'm nice, I do that. Just use your cell phone camera and text your agents. So, okay, so you're good with people, you're uncomfortable bringing up business. Once you're aware of these three pieces, so you gotta figure out your plan. You need to practice your scripts. Says you need to take hold and you need to call your sphere of influence. By knowing your goal, mastery prospecting, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, being good with people and uncomfortable bringing up business, and by making a plan to work with both, you're well on your way to self-mastery and mastery prospecting. Just something to kind of think about. Okay. Oh, there was more on that? Okay. What weaknesses might hinder you from overcoming the obstacles? How can you conquer them? And are the obstacles movable? Is there something you can master that will help with that? So you guys are kind of partnered together on tables. So you guys can kind of go through these, and these are going to be on page 21. Write those three things down that you think are to hinder your success. Consult, discuss with your partner. I think, Michael, I think you and I did this in Texas one time. Back in the day, long time ago. I think we did this back in Texas. And we were helping each other sort through some
Yeah,
problems
Yeah.
with something and
well, we can kick it around kind of as a group here today too, you know,
Yeah.
these ideas. I mean, the first one I've written down, you know, achieving through self-mastery, you know, what's going to hinder me from hitting, you know, your success, your goal is just not following, you know, a schedule, not following a time-like schedule, which to me, that's, you know, are you committed or not?
right.
Right? So that's mindset, you know, and all of these 6 personal perspectives will come out. Limiting beliefs was probably another, you know, obstacle. So
Yeah, and it's good to see other people.
Kristen, Krista, hi Krista, Jen, Chip, get over here.
I wrote down first before I had this.
So I
I
was
said,
trying to
you
put
know,
my voice together.
I was right now, I think here.
Yeah, I just wrote spiritual health and wealth.
Okay, I did 12. That's the whole final schedule. So you guys, like your mom, that's like getting that experience. You read that book?
Surround myself with positive.
She used a couple accolades. You and I tried to. We did. Yeah, because there's 20 bucks. This afternoon.
You can kind of like find it right now, but it's basically, you gotta get your spiritual outline first. Right? Out that. That's also. Divine will of God. And it can be whatever spiritual outline you have. And then you have to get into health. First, right? And then there's three more. And that kind of things. I told her that. I want my children into the church.
I can do that, and I don't think it's very hard about the spiritual things. All my kids are growing up in the church. They were always the only baby. Maybe I'm ahead of it a little bit. Right? I was 15. Every Wednesday.
So when you're
All right, wrap it up 1 minute or so.
Two. That frees up. It's only 15 minutes. I missed that meeting.
Well, and that's where we're gonna talk about.
I was there. And now it's on. Yeah. What was your obstacle? What's your obstacle?
All right, about 30 more seconds. Is that a storm? Oh. Doug Fraser, we need a whiteboard right there.
If somebody said that before, because I was just on that last week. Do you want me to get the white book? You want to write on that?
No, I'm good. I don't need to write. I was like,
Yeah, that suits perfect for that.
so as you guys are starting to look through your all's exercise and your commitment to self-mastery, where's your all high school now? Who's slacking on self-mastery? Who needs to do some work? You didn't please raise your hand. Y'all get thrown out. Now, Michael Fraser, people that have a danger get thrown out today are Chip and Michael Fraser. That's it. So. Okay. Lunch, Tom Barrett, which he wasn't gonna come up here, but I told him he had to. He's bringing those Chick-fil-A boxes. And so he's got grilled chicken, regular chicken, and chicken wraps. He's got 10 of each, so everybody should be able to get some food. So, all right, listen, so we need to get through the 80-20 principle, and it's supposed to be delivered at 10:30 or 11:30. So, yeah, we gotta get some traction going. Okay, who knows what the 80-20 principle is? 80-20. All right, what do you
Where
got?
you write a list down of all the things that you need to do throughout the day, and then you categorize it as, like, what's the 20% of the most important things, and you do that and find somebody else to do it.
Yep, that's right. Yeah,
So 20% of what you do provides 80% of the results.
that's correct. And you will see that on the MLS too. 20% of the agents take care of 80% of the production. Now, your job as a real estate agent, your 20%, you have 5 things as a real estate agent. You hit these things every day and put it in your calendar, you will be a successful real estate agent. Lead gen, lead follow-up, going on appointments, negotiating contracts, script and role play. Those are your 5 jobs. That's your 20% as a real estate agent. So let's talk about that in terms of what a schedule looks like. Script practice in the morning, start work, whatever time you want to start work. Do your script practice 15 to 30 minutes, depending on, there's all kinds of groups that you can get on any of the KW websites and script practice with people across the country if that makes you more comfortable, or if that will make you more accountable. So you would do that for, let's say, 30 minutes. So let's say you start work at 8 o'clock. Well, let's say 9 o'clock, okay? Let's get real. All right. I mean, even 10, it doesn't matter. Let's just go with 9. So 9 to 9:30, you're doing script practice, role play. And then you start on the phone at 9:30, and you may not be the phone. I mean, we're in a different era now. So it's not like everybody has to be on the phones all the time. Sometimes it goes through messaging, texting, because, if you've got people that work, like for the state, for example, they're not gonna be on their phones, but they can send a text message. Right. So that's why you gotta kind of, call or text both. And do a combination of that. We've been very successful with starting to focus on doing some text messages and some direct messages as well. So let's say you're gonna do your lead generation for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is that you want to do. Your lead gen is typically, if you're gonna do 2 hours a day, lead gen and lead follow-up. You've got your lead generation from 9:30 to 10:30. You've got your lead follow-up from 10:30 to 11. Now, keep in mind, it depends on how big your database is. But historically, if you've got a good database that you're working with, you would have that amount of business or that amount of time that you would do that with. So you've already got script practice and role play, lead gen and lead follow-up. And what time is it? 11:30. Negotiate contracts. Well, what if I don't have a contract to negotiate? You need to be spending time going over your contracts if you haven't mastered them yet. You need to make sure that you know that contract in and out to where you can go through and go, okay, today's date is this day, we're gonna offer $100,000 based on the property. I want you to make sure it's $500. There's no deposit down, and here's what your financing is. It's a rural housing loan, conventional rate, here's your payment, FHA box on apply, let's go to the next page. You should know how to be able to do every section of the contract like that, and if you can't get each section in a paragraph or a sentence or two, you should be practicing your contract. That's your negotiating contract, if you don't have a physical contract to negotiate. Going on appointments, let's say you don't have an appointment, you don't have any houses to show or anything that day, stop by somebody, stop by a lender. Stop by a coffee shop, have a conversation with somebody. I don't care if you walk around the mall every single day. And there are some good stores up in there. Just have some conversations about real estate.
Car wash is great.
Car washes.
I think that's my best concept, Ubers, bars.
I Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So there's all kinds of different ways to get business, but you gotta get intentional about it. You gotta get intentional. If you're not intentional and you don't know what you're doing for business, you're just trying to wing it every day, you're not gonna be that effective. So if we're doing that and we're at 10:30 or 11:30 for our lead gen and lead follow-ups open, we're gonna do 30 minutes to script on, our contract if we're not good on the contract. And then we have another maybe hour, you're done working for the day at 1 o'clock if you do it Monday through Friday. It's not rocket science. Just create a job for yourself and stick to it. Hold yourself accountable at a high level and your business will change.
Well, the one thing that Michael's really adamant about is we can regenerate for 2 hours, but we judge it on 20 two-way conversations.
Yep.
So if you're sitting there leaving voice messages and stuff, that's great on your dials, but have you had, how many two-way conversations is that, which then turns into an opportunity or a lead if you get their email address, you put them in your.
Yep.
And then if you get an appointment, that's great, but how many appointments do you set and then they cancel on? So do you actually go on that appointment?
Right.
Are they completed? And if you haven't done it, then you gotta make it up, because if you figure out how many appointments you have to have in order to get X amount of listings, in order to get X amount of closes to make your goals for the year, you can break it down weekly, monthly, and it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, and it all depends on what type of lead generation that you're doing and that you want to do. Honestly, I mean, if your lead generation is based on sphere and influence, I mean, because we can run the numbers. I mean, I had a little whiteboard up here, and Michael Breaker had it up here too. If we had a little whiteboard, I could run the numbers for you guys and tell you down to a T, if you're looking for brand new business, how many contacts you'd have to make each and every day.
Yeah.
And so usually a 20 to 1 conversion.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're right.
You know, it's down in the car with you. Just wanted to make sure it wasn't in the middle of the street.
To Chip's point and to Vanessa's point, if you really, measure, am I getting into two-way communications? And it can be texting,
That's right.
it can be email, it can be Facebook Messenger, it can be at the bar. If you really, when she gets to E to P, moving from entrepreneurial
Yes,
to
that's my
purposeful,
favorite.
that's being purposeful.
Yeah.
You've got to, do not deny yourself getting into these two-way communications, because if you're dialing for 2 hours, but you're not talking to anybody, you've not gotten any.
Well, and you could do it, you
And
could
you
set
might
it,
have to dial for 8 hours.
well, and you
Right.
could set it a couple different ways. You could do it based on you need to have a certain amount of conversations per day or time. But to their point, if you're going through and you're not getting anybody on the phone, it's a little bit more, difficult than, then you are kind of wasting time. So you gotta figure out what it is. If you can't get the numbers that you need sitting on the phone, what else are you gonna do in a different manner in order to get it? I mean, I started my business through open houses. I do 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. I didn't care. We door knocked, we've done stuff like that. I mean, it's just different things that you want to do. But at the end of the day, if you guys are looking at your sphere and talking to the people that you already know, your conversion is going to be a lot higher than the 20 to 1. And you may not necessarily have to be on the phone for 8 hours a day if you're focusing on your sphere. But for whatever reason, we like to get away from talking to the people that we know. And I've got, and even Janine on my team, the highest agent, she closed 60 transactions last year. And she was like, I'd much rather talk to a stranger than talk to people I know. I'm like, what are you talking about? So that's something that we're kind of, working on and working through, because nobody wants to be a stalker. And I think that's what it all comes down to. So the 80-20.
That's a limiting belief, of course, right?
Oh,
It
yeah,
is,
our
it is.
We're all
We'll
like
do that.
searching DBA and Facebook to, I mean, we're all practically FBI
That's
agents
private
when it
stalking.
comes.
That's private
yeah.
stalking.
That's not calling them like store sale. Oh.
The big rocks come first on the 80-20. I used to have a sheet that talked about 80-20 on it that I made a few years ago. But like I just said, with your real estate job, you're an agent, your job is lead gen, lead follow up, going on appointments, negotiating contracts, script and role play. Those are your big rocks. It doesn't mean that all the other stuff's not important, but you don't move to those things until your 20%'s done. Yeah, you need to update your email signature, or you may need to program a super box or do whatever, but those are not in your 20%. But yet we'd like to stay in the 80%. A lot of times we do. It's easier sometimes, but the big rocks come first. When we're focused on the 20% that matters, we get 80% of the results we want. Just like Brooke was saying earlier, 20% of the effort required calculates to 80% of the results. If you focus on the big rocks, you'll make more money, you'll have more time with family, Trisha, and you'll be more organized. That's right.
Just give me more showings and we have.
Identify your 20%. Then even go smaller by finding the vital few of the vital few. Like I said, I mean,
I want to add something to what you're talking about here too.
go with it.
That if you think about your database and getting in there and using tags to identify who are your platinum clients, who are your gold clients, your silver, your bronze. And in my brain, your platinums are the raving fans of your organization, and they are referring you business. You've done multiple transactions. Those are people that you need to be in higher level, conversations more frequent.
Mhm.
And so you can take the database and do the same 80-20 on
Yep.
it. That 20% of your database is going to bring you 80% of your
Referrals
past
and
client
business, that's right.
referrals. And then do the 80-20 on that 20% again,
Yeah,
and you'll be amazed. All of a sudden, you'll really see how, 20% it again, that it becomes a number that now those really become your small batch, deep relationship, personal client events. And as we go into this continued shifting market, everybody knows that there's been just a flood of real estate agents into our business, right?
Yep.
And as the market tightens, there'll be an exodus of agents as well. And
Always
that
happens.
is our opportunity for us to be in such deep relationship with our client base that people will get orphaned. And that's where you're gonna go pick up market share. But you've got to be in daggone deep relationship with, everybody in the database more now than ever.
I had somebody tell me once, and I don't know if I was in a class or what, and I've been bringing this up to my team over the past few weeks, and I know they're tired of me saying it. But if you don't know when every person in your database is going to buy next, you don't know your database. If you can look at every person in your database and know they'll buy again in 5 years, about 5 years, you know, you can note it and put it down. You have that conversation with your database. You should know that. You should call through the database and go, hey, you got any real estate plans this year? Got any real estate plans next year, 5 years? How long do you plan on staying in your house?
We're having child number 3, and they're in a
Right.
3-bedroom house.
Yeah,
I mean, there's.
and because you didn't
evidence.
call, you didn't know.
But at the same time, I mean, you can expect certain things, like I've had 2 or 3 people that were like, we just miss home. And they reached out to me because I've, you know, constantly sent birthday cards or home anniversary.
Yeah, that's right.
Or they have like a great job opportunity. I mean, like, you don't ever want to just miss out on those. That's
Right.
why I just, everybody might, that
And
talk to.
and we do home anniversary cards, we do birthday cards. I love
I
that.
get a better response from those
Yeah,
tenfold over. Like I get text messages like, hey, just got your birthday card. I wrote that birthday card 4 months ago.
Mhm.
So that I didn't have to do it this month. And I'm like, yeah, happy birthday. Did you win anything? Because I'll put like $1 scratch off. It's like the cheapest.
Yeah, I think that's amazing.
In
Those,
command, you guys, there's a smart plan that's called quarterly call.
yeah,
And just every time you're closing out a sale, put your client on a quarterly campaign and it repeats. It never ends. And so it's gonna pop up in your to-do list
yeah,
when you're calling them every 90 days. And so that way, it just makes it so daggone easy to stay on top of them. And to your point, I think the touches, you think about, like, every year I forget, and then I get a birthday card on my birthday, and I'm like, you feel good, you like it. So just think about what you like, what makes you feel
Yeah.
good, what you would respond to, and then just do that.
I think I based mine on like when I bought here, like what my agent did.
mhm,
And I loved it because I think I would rather have like a personally written birthday card
Yeah.
than an email that I'm going to check.
right.
I'll read the subject line. If it says happy birthday, I'll be like, okay, thank you. And I will not go on the birthday.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, and I think those things too, I mean, those are all great things, and it just all comes down to a system. And it all comes down to committing to that part of the self-mastery as part as how are you gonna run your database and keep your people engaged with you? Identifying your 20%, we talked about that. If you guys haven't read the One Thing book, you guys need to. That needs to be something that you read every single year. That right there was pivotal with my husband and I. There was a class at the Signature Club that somebody came in from out of the area and taught the One Thing class. And that was pivotal for my husband and I, because I always thought that the one thing had to be some kind of, or your big why or your one thing was this philosophical statement that defined who you were. I don't know anything about all that. I'm not that complex or that complicated to be able to figure all that out. So that class taught me that it's just the one thing that you want to focus on right now. So Tom and I started the journey of getting out of debt. And when we got intentional with it, we had, oh my gosh, we probably had 5 cars that we were paying on, because we had 2 kids and we bought cars for new cars, and they came home the next semester from college. But we still had to pay for the cars. So we just started the process of getting out of debt. The first thing we were gonna pay off was his car or his truck. But we had the money, we just were never intentional about it. We pulled it from the different accounts to pay his truck off, and we started going. We had weekly finance meetings with each other on Sundays. Every single Sunday, we projected what came in, we projected what got pushed out or whatever, and we came up with a 6-month plan, and we were debt free other than our house, in a matter of like 2 years or so. Wow. We had 5 cars, we had a HELOC, we had credit card debt. I mean, it was crazy, but until we came up with a plan to get rid of it, it was gonna always stay there. So that's what talks about being part of the 80-20. This One Thing book is not only just about real estate, it's about life in general. So just think about what that one thing is that you need to focus on.
If you're
Yeah.
not a reader, I'm listening to it on,
Yeah.
what do you call it, Audible, whatever, the car. It's really good. I've listened to it several times over.
I mean, it's true. I mean, you can, I mean, the question is, it's any facet of your life. What's the one
Yeah.
thing that I can do? And by so doing, it makes everything else easier or unnecessary to do.
Easier or
or less
unnecessary.
And
attractive
I've
to somebody
recommended
else.
that to people that aren't in real estate.
Yeah.
I mean, it applies to every aspect of everybody in life.
Well, and that's the perfect segue into this make a success list, not a to-do list. So when you're thinking about your 80-20 principle, we've already went over it, what your 5 jobs are as a real estate agent. And for this example, let's walk through this example. Yeah, so let's say you want to run a marathon, Chip. Get you off the golf course, run a marathon.
Hell no.
So you need to, if you want to run a marathon, you've got to, we're gonna make a success list, not a to-do list. Hey, let me tell you something. I'm really guilty about thinking I'm more accomplished than what I actually am, because I will write things down that I already have done and cross them off.
I do the same thing. I made a list of all the things I did yesterday, so you can see it. Mark it off, mark it off, mark it off.
I don't know why I do it, I just do it. I'm like, and I'm just like, okay, well, I picked up the mail, Clint. Whatever it is. So, but this goes for success list, not a to-do list. You can write down every single thing that you need to do on that list, but what's gonna make you successful versus to do? Did I need to pick up the mail? No, Tom could have done that, but I just wrote it down anyway. So let's
What's
talk.
interesting about that mindset is, sometimes you've got to have that positive self-talk.
Yeah.
To get the
Yeah.
momentum going.
Yeah.
Because you can go the opposite direction sometimes too, and go, man, I've got nothing done, and then it just, can spiral out of control.
Yeah. Yeah, like if I look at emails or return calls, I'll write it down if it's even 2 hours later. I already done it. So I don't know why I do it. So run a marathon. Let's talk about what the difference between a success list and a to-do list is. If we're going to run a marathon, we'd have to work on a diet and plan, work on hydration and plan, select strength program, select running regimen, and find a compatible running group. If we're going to select a running regimen, we're going to have to join. So what we would do is we pick from the running the marathon, what's the most important thing. So from there, if we're going to select a running regimen, we have to join upcoming 5K and 10Ks. We have to practice on hills, time block training schedule, check equipment, and plan practice routes. So out of that list, what is going to be the most effective for us? Time block and training schedule. We're going to choose AM and PM. We're going to arrange a babysitter and dog sitter. We're going to get a running watch. We're going to coordinate with an experienced running partner or coach and identify indoor training alternatives for weather. What is the most important thing in that one? Coordinate with an experienced runner and partner or coach so that you can be successful. That's how granular you get in order to make a decision on where you need to go. A lot of people won't take it down to that level. But that right there, if you want to run a marathon, you need to coordinate with an experienced runner and a coach. That's it. And that's where you start the process. Exercise. Write your goal from page 13. List as many of the things that you can think of that you are doing, could be doing to make this goal a reality. Create a success list. Just what we just did. Create a success list by circling only the tasks that are going to have the most impact on your goal. Can you identify the one thing that you can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Let's go back to this. If you want to run a marathon, it makes everything else in this thing easier or unnecessary if we go directly to the experienced running partner or coach, because they're going to take care of everything else. So as you go back to the goal that you wrote down on page 13, let's make a success list. What do you need to do? And if you want to take it from and do something different about job part, let's switch it to your job if you want to do that. If you want to be able to set your listing appointments, what do you need to do? Click, click, click. Let's make it granular so we go down to 3. Figure out what it is you need to do. So work on this for just a couple minutes. It says 5 to 7 minutes, but so we're finding out if you guys are working on your 20%. That's what your goal was. Your goal, or you're working on the 20% items in your goal. I like Michael, what you said about the database. Let's go down to get your database down to the 20%, then take it down to 20% again. What do you got? So if one of your items was, your goal for page 13 was, let's get out of debt. Right, have many things that you can do in order to get out of debt. And then you're gonna circle the tasks that are going to give you the most impact, or you're gonna circle 5 of those. And then pick the one thing from those that's gonna make the biggest difference.
I was telling on this one call yesterday, I had a listing down in Tyler, Kentucky. Never been there before in my life. And I lost GPS signal and I was meeting an Amish guy. Now, this man had no phone. He had no phone number. He had no car. He had a horse and buggy. He had no address on his property that I listed. And he was happy as could be. And I was like, how does he do this? And he was just keep it simple, kiss, keep it simple, stupid. You know, and I was just like, man, what he's got.
But that's how you do it.
Yeah, but it's
How you
just,
do it.
you don't have a money problem, you know, I don't have, I can spend it.
Well, one of my coaches told me, she said, you can't save money in your savings account. You got a spending problem. I'm like, well, try to finish my next one. I got vacations going on. What do you mean?
He was 21 years old and had a 30-acre farm. I had to get that working his butt off. And been living off the cow that he has, living off his garden. I was blown away.
He's not dating no girls in Lexington, taking them to dinner.
You know what? That's why he's selling the farm.
Because he's got a girl now, right? And he's trying to sell the farm and do all
I'm
that.
defeated. Y'all are undefeated. I'm sorry.
It's true.
It's true.
So does anybody want to share what their one thing is? It's one thing you should be focusing on. Mark Fraser?
Lead generate for talent daily.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all you need to be doing.
So that's, that's, and that's, like I said, you can use this exercise on anything personal, anything business related. Just go down to the point, just go down and find out what's necessary and what's not, because I can guarantee you, you are spending the majority of the time your 80% because it's easier. It's easier. Unless you create yourself a job and just go in there and knock it out. All right. Talk about the 411. 411 is a real estate tool that Keller Williams has created, and it means 4 weeks, 1 month, and 1 year. The 411 is a monthly document that you do. And what you do is you write out your goal for the year. So if your goal is to sell 50 houses in 1 year, let's do 48. About right. 48 houses in a year, we know each month your goal is to do, that's right, Jim's got it in his planner, it's not filled out, but that's fine.
Hey, it's June. This is June.
To your point, in that book, it has
Yeah.
every minute, like every 15 or 30
Yeah.
minute block. And that's what we use it for. That section is just to write down the reality.
Yeah.
As harsh as that is, what the heck are you doing? So you can just get real with yourself. What am I doing throughout the day? And you go back and look at that and go, it's okay.
Yeah.
See why I am or am not in my goal.
Yeah, that's very powerful too. Because the first thing, like if somebody comes to me and says, I can't get anybody to call me. And I'm like, okay, well, how much lead gen are you doing? Oh, I lead generate all the time. Okay, great.
Let's go look at your calendar.
Write down, write down tomorrow what you do every 15 minutes. And one girl was like, yeah, I set up the front desk and talk for 40 minutes. Okay, then you're not lead generating all the time. You know, so the 411, you're gonna write down your yearly goal on the top of it. And you're gonna, and it's a month, you put it, this paper is every month. So if your goal is to sell 48 houses in 1 year, your goal for that month is gonna be 4 per that month. So in June of 2022, you're gonna put 4 per month. Now, if you're behind on your goal and you're not using seasonality, you could use seasonality on it as well. Let's just say we're not using seasonality and you're behind on your goal, you will add to that. Now, seasonality means 15% of your goal for the year will be done in the first 3 months of the year, 35% in quarters 2 and 3, and 15% in quarter 4. That's how seasonality works. And then from there, you've got 4 weeks in that month. So you're gonna write down, what do I have to do every single week in order to be able to hit my goal for this month? So there's the GPS is a goal priority system. It's kind of like your goal. I don't know why they don't have this in here. But this is an example of what it looks like. So your annual goals, and they do have some that are personal and job. They have 2 different ones. One of them is just for job, and then they have another document that is job and personal both. So you can do both of them. So let's say, for example, on this one, you guys can see it on page 37. This is a 411 action goal worksheet. So if your annual goals are to have 24 listings for your job, 18 buyer sales, 42, 60 quality listings. Dang, they don't have good conversion. And 150 listing appointments. I'm like, okay. Yeah, their conversion, they need to work on their conversions or get more qualified buyers. I mean, ask the question before you spend the time going to the house. 70 on the business side, if you want to do 76 buyer sale, 24 listings, 2 new projects a month, 750 in GCI, 200,000 in net profit. I'm not liking these numbers. I mean, that doesn't even make any sense. I mean, they're just, you know, and on your personal side of it, if you want to monitor investments and repay your loan, and personally, you want to read 1 to 2 books a month, lose 15 pounds, and complete a course in conversational Spanish. All right, I know.
That's
I was married to my husband for 5 years in December, been with him for 2 years longer than that, and I still don't speak Spanish.
That's hard as tough, isn't it?
But he doesn't speak it at home, he speaks it with the kids once in a while on the phone, but at home he speaks English, so.
Yeah. So then you'll see on here on the annual goals, when you go down to the next one, your annual goals are always going to stay the same on these documents. And what I used to do is I used to fill one out when they were on paper, and I would do January, then I'd staple February on top of it, April, March on top of that, and April on top of that. Monthly goals for the month would be 5 listings, 2 listings sold, because they want 24 listings sold, 2 buyers in escrow, 3 buyer contract close, 15 listing appointments, and 3 hours lead gen per day. So then if you go down to the bottom section where it says weekly goals, weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4, you would go, I want to attend 5 listing appointments, close 1 buyer contract, and lead generate 3 hours a day. Business, interview 2 candidates for the buyer specialist position, teach Ignite, lead ALC, work on materials for investors. Personal finance, preview potential investment properties and make a loan payment and read 50 pages a shift. The more granular you can get it and the more you break it down, the better you guys are going to be at reaching your goals. And this document's good because you can see it. So this is one that you can make a copy of. You can find it on KW on kw.kw.com. Find it there. Yeah. There's yours. Stay at mykw.kw.com.
This company is not lacking in resources.
They're not.
We lack in resourcefulness as people.
Yeah.
And so, just always ask somebody if you're needing help with something, it's out there. I mean, there's videos everywhere.
Oh, yeah, there's stuff everywhere. But look at this statement up here. Time blocking, managing your 80-20. The truth. People think there's never enough time to be successful, but there is when you time block it. I mean, when I had, at one time, I had the roles of being productivity coach over 50 people that I managed productivity coaching. I ran a real estate team and I was a math coach all at the same time. How did I do that? I time blocked. And if it wasn't enough time, if there wasn't enough time for it, I would just say no. I mean, and you would come in and I would be very intentional. You wouldn't see me standing around the office talking or anything. I would be very intentional with what I had to do. If somebody talked to me like, you call me later. I mean, I throw Bob out of my office all the time. I throw my breaker out of office. Let's just go. I have things I have to do. Yes, but I couldn't be successful if I wasn't time blocked. Everybody has the same amount of time during the day. It's just been where you spend it. 4 keys to success with time blocking. Be consistent enough to set the habit. Be thoughtful and purposeful about the items that you list on your calendar. Don't just write lead generation on your calendar. Don't just write lead generation. Be specific with what type of lead generation you're going to do. Because if you don't, it's too easy to skip over it. Always time block for the big rocks, your 20%. Again, lead gen, lead follow-up, going on appointments, negotiating contracts, script and role play for real estate agents. If you erase, you must replace. So let's say that you're supposed to be lead generating from 9:30 to 11:30 and doing your follow-up for 2 hours. And you gotta go to closing. You don't get skipped for the day. And always review your calendar before you agree to do something else. Somebody calls you and says, hey, can you show me that property? Don't not show up to your team meeting or don't come to a class that you've attended because you can't look at your calendar before you make the commitment.
Yeah, we set up closings and try to do showings after lunch because we don't want to get into our lead gen time.
Oh, nice.
Protected your
Nice.
protected your phone.
Yeah, I mean that, okay. Yeah, I
We try
mean,
to.
well,
Don't always cater to it.
yeah.
But we try to.
yeah. And that's just, and I love that idea. Honestly, I never thought about that. After lunch is when closings will be to protect the morning
I
time.
always, they'll put it at 10 or 11, and said, we told you that, please put us at 1 or after.
Mhm.
And sometimes.
We have
Yeah.
our transaction coordinators start that conversation
Yeah,
like 3 weeks out from closing to say we need
Yeah.
afternoon time.
And how you present it is saying, hey, we want to allow the banks and the title companies and all those guys to get organized in the morning. That's when they're kind of chaotic and we want a very
Last
smooth,
minute
beautiful
stuff.
5-star experience from your client and our client, right? Yeah, let's do it.
gives you
1
time to do the
o'clock on.
walkthrough and all that stuff
Yeah, let's
too.
everybody get organized in the
Yeah.
mornings. We're not scrambling in the morning.
Yeah.
So you're presenting it that way, but what you're doing is really blocking your schedule
Yeah,
to run your business the way you need to run it.
Or just telling your client needs to only just take off a half a day work. I mean, you
There's
know,
a
say this is
Oh, yeah.
reasonable.
yeah,
But you've got to start managing that
Yeah.
conversation with your clients in the very beginning and making sure that you're also managing that conversation with, when you're on the buy side, with your lender partners. And then both of our offices own a percentage of foundation title. You get them clearer that this is when we do closings and everybody is protecting your schedule for it. Super important.
So-
Purposeful.
So, we're not gonna do this exercise. You guys are gonna do it. And I feel like I need to do another class at some point about GPS to 411. Okay, so here's what the biggest challenge is. When you do GPS, that's your goals, your priority, and your strategy. That's where you usually start. Okay, you write your goal for the year, you write what your priorities are, your 3 main priorities, and your 5 strategies underneath one of those. Then you transfer that over to your calendar or to your 411. The problem that ends up happening is that you feel like your GPS, your 401, throw it in the drawer, you never look at it again. So in order to be successful with those tools, you have to take it and move it to your calendar. That's where this comes into play. You base your calendar off of your 411. That's what you do.
They just repeat it for X amount of days.
Yeah. You can repeat it and everything.
There was one change.
Yeah. So refer to your weekly goals on your 411, time block what a typical day looks like if you're to achieve your goals for the week. Protect your time block. It's like Chip was saying, build your bunker. The world doesn't know your purpose and priorities and isn't responsible for them. You are. I mean, I used to do that. I used to be like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll show you your house. People don't care if you show them the house at the exact time that they ask. No, I mean, I've never had one person say no. If somebody says, can we look at this house tomorrow at 10? I have an appointment. We can look at it at 12. Okay, cool. They don't know that my appointment is to get my hair done. I'm not canceling hair appointments. I'm telling you right now, it's free. Yeah. So I encourage everybody to time block all of your personal appointments, your time with your kids. Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
I mean, like, you just say it's not, first availability is such and such or whatever.
This is the protect your time block. Build a bunker, store provisions, sweep for minds, and enlist support. And people, I mean, there used to be things where we would put stuff on the back of people's backs, like notes that say, don't talk to me because I will not be able to stop talking back to you. Let me do my time block. Don't interrupt. So you enlist support, which means I'm like, Chip, get back in here for me, slacker. I'm saying to him all the time in the office. I'm like, why are you walking around? I've seen you doing it 3 times. Go back there and start working. Slacker. He didn't want me called slacker. So, okay. All right, so we didn't get past 80-20 quick enough. All right. Lunch is here. I think they're setting it up. All right, we'll start E2P until they get done. They're still bringing it in. And then we'll stop in probably in the middle of it. E2P, this is my favorite page. Entrepreneurial to purposeful. Everybody has a standard operating ceiling that they have just inside of them in general. Every person is just going to have a natural ability to get to a certain place on their own. It might be you can sell 20 houses a year. It might be you can do 36 houses a year. Whatever it is, you have that natural ceiling. But unless you do something to be purposeful, you'll never do anything different. They don't put these videos out anymore like they used to. When you move from E to P, you write your goals, you focus on the 20%, you find strategic options, you ask, how can this be done? Are there different and better ways to do it? You look for models to follow. You attend trainings that teach you how to get where you want to go. You identify mentors or people who have done it. Mike Prince and I bounce stuff off each other all the time. Install systems. You time block, you practice your scripts, you create checklists, you make sure the systems you install work consistently and efficiently, and you bring in accountability. Measure what you do, keep track of the 411, and have an accountability partner. Well, that's just kind of crazy. That was the fast one. So E2P. Okay, so E2P, I'm gonna get a little bit more specific on that. So, like I said, everybody has their natural ceiling. And we'll give you guys an example. My natural ceiling was probably I could get to about 50 transactions by myself as an individual person. And then I knew I needed help, but I was scared to hire somebody. Tom Barrett freaked out. He's like, no, can't do that. I'm like, dude, I can't fit. I mean, I'm working 18 hours a day, and I'm not exaggerating. My kids will still talk to this day, which is something I regret, how much I worked when they were younger. They will still talk about it. And funny thing is, 2 of them are realtors now. So, and it was like, I knew I needed to, I was at my cap by myself. I worked all the time. I had no time for myself, no time for my family. People were dropping through the cracks. People would call me to show them a house. I'd never call them back. I couldn't send out my flyers and stuff I was sending. I couldn't work my expired system because expired were big back then. So I had to hire an admin. And what happened was, when I hired the admin, I got some of my time back. And it was scary. I mean, I didn't put her, I was like, sales works out. But what I did was that I kept hitting my head on the ceiling. When I hired the admin, it pushed me through to another level. So every time you do something that is different from what you're used to doing, whether it's hiring a showing assistant, whether it's hiring an admin, hiring a second admin, which I did a few years ago. It's something, it's always uncomfortable. But the great thing is about when you go from entrepreneurial, which is your natural ability, to being purposeful about something, to grow your business, you create a new ceiling for yourself each and every time. So when you started to add, you would add admins. The first one was creating the admin, and that just absolutely changed my life. And the second thing I did was when I came to Keller Williams and I started learning how to run a team, that was scary as well too, because I had to give up some of my income, the majority of my income, to be able to bring other people into my life. But what that did was I traded money for time, and I was cool with doing that. And so now.
And then more transactions follow.
More transactions followed, they did. So I think 2020, we were at 176 transactions or something like that. Last year we taped 120 something, but that was my issue as I reflect back, because I let go team members on my team that weren't functioning at a high level. There was 3 people that was my gap. People that were doing 12, 13, 14, 15 transactions a year. That was my gap. So that was something that as I go back and I reflect on businesses and the different things that I've done, I'm very analytical with the business and where it's done, where it's been, and where it's going. A lot of times you can't project it, you can't predict the future of where it's going to go, but you can always cast that vision. You can cast the goal and the vision and work backwards from it, from where you guys want to go. Usually when I come back from vacation, the team's always like, oh no. I'm like, here's the new drawing, here's the last, I'm like, we're gonna do this division, that division, we're doing this, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, okay.
Vacations and training, right?
Yeah, vacations, it's another thing. Get that on your calendar. Get the vacations, your time off on the calendar first, and time with family. You've got kids, you need to be at their baseball games. Trisha coaches soccer team for her kids. That's on her calendar.
And you helped me prioritize that.
Yes.
We had a conflict tonight, and without a question, you said, we'll take care of it.
Yep. That's right. That's right.
I was blown away.
You made me do that.
At the family reunion, I was blown away when Mary Keller said the first thing you put on your calendar is your vacation.
That's right.
So you have
Second
something-
thing,
we have something to look forward to. I thought it was the first thing.
what's the first thing, sure, that you think about for a second? She brought it up earlier. Mary Keller is not going to reschedule things based upon your vacation.
No.
Family meeting, mega camp,
Oh,
training, regional events, things
So the
like
things
that.
won't-
that's a given.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. But then think
Yeah.
about, the importance of, just like he's talking about. And so, Chip, hold that book up real quick, because you guys can order these. We have them for our team.
Yeah.
That it's called bold.
It's
bold
cool.
on the front, but
Of course,
it's
mine
just,
is backwards, back to that, fits me.
yeah, he did have the odd one, he did. But if you open it up on the inside, it just starts to step you through
Yeah,
putting in your GPS, your 135, but it also has the growth plan
yeah,
that you're talking about.
Yep.
And so that's where you're putting down, January through December. What are the events that you want to grow yourself? And your reunion, mega camp, these different things. There's really good regional training. Well, one's next week, June the 1st and 2nd. for
doing
those
career
in here.
vision,
Career vision.
Yeah.
It's the only time it's being taught in the region this year. And I think it's being taught by Nikki Ubaldini. He's
Yes.
phenomenal.
yeah, she was great.
And it's a 2-day class. And so like Vanessa, those that, run teams, and all of us need to have this skill, which is to how to properly, assess our strengths, weaknesses, but start to, through the KPA, assess the strengths and weaknesses of others. And what Amy's talking about with ceilings of achievement, it's all going to be through levels. It's
Yeah.
always going to be through people. And so getting masterful at the hiring process in everything in your life, makes it easier. Heck, if you're a single person, you can apply this to.
I mean, I'm always
Run
excited.
KPA on it.
I'm always excited, yeah. I'm always excited when we bring, new people on the team and I start to get to know them a little bit to figure out, Trish used to be a teacher. What grade did you teach? Yeah, high school teacher.
So she can wrangle anybody.
She can. And so she typically is the one who teaches our home buyer seminar. She you know, like we,
Just 9 to 6.
yes.
Yeah, that's.
There you go.
Yeah.
And she said.
Yeah, I said, no, well, hey, just go take care of your family. Because that is what it is. I mean, and that, you know, I think the reason that, and I've talked to Vanessa about this, I've talked to Michael about this, reason that I built a team is I just wanted to be able to do something bigger that I knew I couldn't do by myself, and to bring other people along for the ride with me. You know, and that's just kind of how it was. And I was thrilled when we found out that Tricia was a teacher, because I was like, I mean, she brings out markers and color codes. I'm like, oh, wow. I mean,
Just let me know, I have a ton of markers at home.
you know, so it's like, you know, what we're using for, you know, so Tricia, I'm like, oh, I need you to make a training calendar. I need you to, okay, you know, so, you know, it's about, you know, of course she's not gonna, she doesn't press it, she likes it. She likes it, you know, so.
You would say is that your world has gotten bigger.
Yeah.
Amy's world's gotten bigger.
Yeah.
And you guys being together.
Yeah.
That's so wonderful. And you can be with a team or you don't. You know,
Right.
The team is also your office. you
Yeah.
know? And so you can still have that same accountability and that comradeship, I'll call it, because we all have to have balance in our life, you know, really
Yeah,
wanting everybody to get that understood, and you gotta take vacations, you gotta get coached to sports. And
Yeah.
you need to be able to rely on people that everybody in essence is cross-trained, that they can step in and help out. You know, nothing ever loses, you know, any of its quality, you know, experience from the consumer.
The key thing is, wow, the team was bigger.
All I
could see was this board, I thought it was bigger.
Yeah, it was.
Different people on the team,
yeah,
putting it into the maximum.
yeah, where they thrive and where, you know, they take ownership of everything. So everybody, this is Tom Barron, this is my husband, and he works for Stockton Mortgage, and I forced him to bring lunch today.
Thank
So we've got.
I know what she
Chick-fil-A.
says too.
Well, earlier in class, he started talking, I said one sentence. Only.
I was just telling them, Michael Brenda should have been a politician. He is just.
I'll leave that to Tom.
It's not too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, Mike.
Everybody knows.
He should. Michael Prather loves everybody. He gets along with everybody's stuff. That's awesome. Okay, so we're gonna break for lunch and then we're gonna come back and just wrap the last two sections up.
So I'm just gonna say hi real quick. I'll pass out some cards. Got some Chick-fil-A. Just real quickly, I know most of you guys probably already have established lenders, and I appreciate that. Don't want to infringe on that. If you need a lender, by all means.
You can always have more arrows in your quiver. is what
You
I'm
didn't give
saying.
me one, Tom, or you gave him two, he didn't pass it down.
That could be.
Oh, I did not, yeah.
It's all right.
Tom, here, I know how to get all of you past
I
it.
mean-
Well, she gave her the one off.
Give us that 15 to 30-second elevator speech we need to be saying to people that are asking right now, hey, what's going on with interest rates? What's going on with the market?
Interest rates, as everybody knows, has gone up a little bit. They kind of flattened just a little bit. Fed made their announcement 2 or 3 weeks ago. So the market anticipated that already. So we kind of flattened out a little bit. But we think they're going to go again. So they're going to be pushing 6%.
Which is still a great rate. Don't freak your people out. Great rate.
Historically low.
And they can write more on the taxes if that's where you need to go.
Yeah, it's just how you push it, how you sell it on that. It does make, payments higher. It will decrease probably their purchasing power, instead of qualifying for 250, now they might be going down to 200, 220. It will affect the purchasing power, so you just need to make sure you get a good approval before you go out and you start showing people houses.
Make sure you're gonna get up there.
I was gonna say the same
It's
thing.
been sitting there since
Yeah,
January.
so you
You
got-
haven't really
Exactly,
talking
'cause
to the lender, getting the thing.
back in January, rates were down in the low fours, now they're up, 11, mid-5. So, yes, make sure you're getting that pre-approval rate, because that honestly, if somebody was stretching it to the maximum back in January, now they're probably not gonna qualify.
Yeah.
For that, $2,000.
$2,000. Make the point.
So $50. It's not gonna be a whole lot. It really just, an eighth of a point doesn't affect you a lot. A whole percentage point will affect you quite a bit.
Yeah. All right, let's show.
People, their interest
Thank you, Tom.
Joe, I did the calculation, $200,000 house. Oh, well,
Doing great, George.
You're coaching.
I
Pull out to the T-ball field the other day for the first time. I'm just a fan. Call my wife and say, we're down there for a coach. We're like, you're yeah.
And so, yeah, they have, can we do it for 10 instead of 9?
Only I'm in
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he got his way out. And, you know, there was the last time I had to but also sometimes there's a guy on first and third, you know, nobody on second, of course, he's first with it. So they touch the plate, and the shape is not out. And so it's fun watching it, you know, usually person. You know, always think perfection is expected, you know, excellence will be tolerated. There you go. Yeah, so I'm not. That's all this thing. Good. Felipe.
I swear to God, if I don't get this one, I would lose my shit. Where is it? Kirk Levington. They already have like 5 offers.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like a family situation, so like, they're pretty much just gonna set it up for it, and they only have to mortgage. So they're paying cash for the rest of it, so it doesn't really matter. Not cash, I mean, they're financing only $600,000. I mean, so they're gonna be paying cash regardless, so they pay cash, so I can do it for $40,000. Praise God. Yeah. You'll get it. I hope so. I'm tired of looking at my.
It sure is, believe it or not. He spits up like he was in the- So when he was first born and I was breastfeeding, they thought that he might die. Was not keeping anything down, so very quickly he lost 2 pounds and did not get back up. So very quickly we had to switch from formula. And the formula, you know, the first one that we took, he was scoring. So then we switched to another one, and we switched to a third one, and so finally, we never figured out what was wrong, but this last formula that he was on comes up in liquid, so it doesn't seem to bother him. So we took him to UK and
there's one on
and
there.
can't figure out what's wrong, so it's just
Yeah,
like,
that one is still there.
and so that's what's so scary about it right now, is I can't just switch him to something else. And we need that one kind.
You've had any issues?
Yeah, oh yeah. So, and his dad works in Louisville, so I'm like, oh, he'll stop every day. Trying to find things, and like he knows the CVS is in the Walgreens when they do their shipment, sometimes they don't get it right away. But sometimes dad comes home with food and sometimes not. It's just, I know, it's so scary. I've got a 10-year-old and he's never anything I ever, which is a blessing, you know, it really did. But gosh, it's very, very scary.
Well, you don't need to have a lot of symptoms.
No, yeah. And I'm very blessed that he's 9 months, so we don't have too terribly long to deal with it, but I've got a friend who, her baby's on the same formula that he is, and she's just 3 weeks old, so it's not easy finding the specific NeuroPro gentle ease, you know, very specific kind is surely not easy to get.
Or it might be a little warmer come in here, it's got chilly.
Another thought, in 1 year in the United States.
Not at all.
Why has it gone on so long that we haven't imported before? Now they're getting shipments from Switzerland or whatever he's importing now. Why is it taking so long? Mexico has plenty, Canada has plenty.
I think it took a long time for the general population to know what's going on. You know, I told my parents, hey, I can't find formula. And my dad's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, for real. I can't find decent formula anywhere.
I'm lucky that mine has been able to breastfeed. She's 3 months old. This long, but now my supply is starting to go down, so I'm having to look to maybe supplement with something. And I'm like, what am I? She has a sensitive stomach.
Yeah, for this.
Oh, goodness.
Call me, want to look at something else. There, so. I told her, she might want to run you guys. I what? Told Amy, I told you about asking her about maybe taking her that one. You already told her. Trisha, how much think you know it's gonna go? There are. They put it in an offer, got accepted. Oh, no, she didn't call me. Yeah. And then same agent is the offer that she has signed, he has not signed. And then he just called me, asking about this other one that's $375. They say, I thought their funding was $230. It is.
Well, all you need to do is tell. Just. What did you do? Just tell them. Tell them requires free Brooklyn.
That's what I told him. I've told them multiple times now that I won't show them anything until they get me proof of funds, because they keep saying, well, our brother has cash, our brother should use cash. I said, then put it in a bank account. I can't submit an offer for $100. So we'll see. No, he decided he'll go ahead and sign the offer and see what happens. And I said, now, you're not back about me, right?
Which one is it? They put stop on.
First it was Schneider, and that is 131. Yeah, exactly right. Use our time wisely. I'll eat when you start. You have to walk around. But we can do that. Okay.
Sure do go quick.
I just don't know how, my calendar's already.
Which one?
I should have been on that to begin with. Yeah. Amy, come here, I'm gonna get your, bring your lunch over here. Okay, we need to revise. So she's got this guy. He said I did that. And he was up front. He was like, she's going and showing him property, and he's coming. So I'm just showing that. She doesn't want him to leave outside of our. Not be in my clothes.
Yours is me.
Oh, I'm hard for that. He's gonna put a little property up there. He's still in the I'm gonna get signed on it. But, what would you?
I'm gonna say for us to move forward, and you're gonna have to sign this, otherwise we're not gonna. Michael had a great script about fire traps. Okay. Yeah. He said something about if you're not signing the fire trap, you're only a customer, and I don't really have that much information. Right. But when you sign the fire trap, then you have responsibility. And you know, it says right there, you know,
Cancel it, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I've never read anybody.
I've never either. He's the first one.
But he's the one that's handed out the dice and whether it's like, this is a CD. I was like, we don't need it, right? But also, yeah. Yes, I told him we can do Zoom. I was like, I'm glad. Let's make sure. But he's the army. What are you doing?
No, that's not happening.
I mean, I like that.
That's a good one.
I do like that. Cause I mean, everybody has to work with, like, don't have a problem. Yeah. So, yeah. What's the learning? But good learning. Customer.
Right.
When you have to prioritize your time.
Oh, yeah, that's what they're saying,
You're
like, this is.
prioritizing your time for your clients.
Right. And, you know, if they're committed to you, so you're committed to them.
Right. And ask them, why don't. I mean,
And she told me that from the very beginning.
why not ask them why?
I'm definitely. I drove to Frankfurt, that's my thing, it's just one of your little properties. You know, from here to Frankfurt, I'm definitely not going. It's not gonna surprise you.
Right.
Um,
I found out with it. I feel like
I'll put mine up to March first. Still taxes. I was engineering in the office. So, I'll try them on LinkedIn. I've got some. I mean, she had a flow, it's like close to 3 and then I'll try to get it. I don't know. Yeah.
She got her, these are good. I hope. She got her shots this morning. Did you? Megan's taking hers to the dentist next week or something. Like, oh, for her 2.5 teeth. You busy today? We're a bunch of baby children.
What time is this over with?
Wait, it is.
I think
What?
what? Yeah. Yeah. I'm asking. Yeah.
Everybody else is good. Yeah, thanks for lunch, Drop the business card out of your pocket.
I want to sit with her and
Oh, okay.
just because it's been 30 days.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
All right, we don't round anybody up. Let's get started again.
Right.
Yes, yeah. You know, well, it's just my daughter, deal. My son, I just need one, my daughter's well.
Yeah.
I will. Next time, everybody just submit it.
I'm like, I couldn't see him.
You're good, I'm watching.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have lemonade, say that right now, where you got something.
It's all right, I'm going to try to use mine.
I hope you're saving yourself for Tony.
We were supposed to.
I don't know what I'm saying, but that's so bored.
Yeah.
No, we've been that's what we need a break. Too much work conversation.
Work and just
Yeah.
everything, like.
Amy's running out, you make it.
She's good, I haven't seen her in a while either.
All right, you just get back at it. Are you on through?
Yes.
Okay, she was good, she's been sick.
We just really like Amy. We just
Like
like
the-
because it's Amy. Very partial to the name.
Yeah, so hers, she's tall Amy and I'm short Amy, so she calls me Sammy and she's Tam, okay? That's how it works.
Because we would just be, everyone would call me like Amy, we both love it. Oh, we gotta figure something out.
Yeah.
I'll say Amy.
Amy B, that's right. All right. All right, so the next step part of the six-person perspective is step number 4. Make learning base be the foundation of your action plan. A learning-based individual is an individual who has made the decision to use effective learning as the foundation piece for their action plan to develop their life. So that is something that will make a big difference in the way that you stay engaged in your business. Because I'll tell you what, when we stopped doing the regional stuff at COVID and everything, and we couldn't get around everybody, we couldn't get around it, I didn't like it. I mean, it felt really good when we first started being able to get to the regional events and get back into the office and things like that to socialize. Let's see. There's a couple different types of people. This is kind of hard, man. Either you're an idiot or, okay, so, I mean, that's all we had, I guess. That's what the paper said. Yeah, you're ignorance based, and I know what I know, and I'll ignore anything else. So that means like Trivial Pursuits leads to nowhere. And then, so the learning-based person is, I know what I know, and there is more to know. Productivity outside, enlightenment inside, a higher self-actualization. So there's, well, as Michael was talking about earlier, there's 4 levels of competency. There's the unconscious incompetence. We don't know what we don't know. Like, I don't know where you'll start the process. At this level, you don't know what you don't know. For example, if you've never driven a car, you have no idea how complicated it can be. The second one is conscious incompetence. If you acquire some knowledge, you could move on to level 2. For level two, you know what you don't know. For example, once you start to drive, you might figure out that parallel parking can be a challenge. Number three, if you apply wisdom to your knowledge, you'll move to level three, the conscious incompetence, or the conscious competence. In our example, this is when you become proficient at parallel parking, though you may have to focus on each step. Over time, with additional practice, your competence becomes a habit that you move to in level four, unconscious competence. At this level, you would readily parallel park while you're singing along to the radio. Attaining unconscious competence in your 20% task to your own task to your success. So with that, let's go back to contracts. At contracts, when you first become a realtor, you're at level one. Like you're like, I don't even know what that means. Yeah, I'm not. So, and anybody that's new to the real estate industry, I mean, like you ask anybody that's new to the real estate industry, what is an easement, what is encroachment, or what's an appraisal, they don't know any of them. They just don't know what they don't know. And then when you kind of start getting into it, you kind of might know what a couple of them are, but then after that, you don't. When you start to get some wisdom, where you start to understand the job, you start to understand the business a little bit, you'll start to understand how those things apply to your business. And then unconscious competence, you just understand how everything kind of works. Going back to the contract example, you can read through a purchase contract like that and just keep going, you know, every single thing that goes along with it. That's where you need to get to on your 20%. Higher achievers reach their goals by making training, education, and self-development the foundational piece of their action plan. I know 100% for a fact, if I had not come, I was at Remax before I came here at Keller Williams, and had I not made the move, I still would have been stuck in the same place that I was before. And it's not anything negative against Remax, it's they just have a different type of mindset there. When I was at that company, I could not ask anybody to give me a copy of their listing presentation because they felt like I was their competition and that I was going to steal from them. I mean, I'm like, okay, you want to copy my listing presentation? Here you go. But when you came to KW, everybody shares. And I'll just be brutally honest with you. Just because you share something with somebody doesn't mean they're going to use it. The most successful people in real estate in general are the ones who execute at a high level. It doesn't matter if they know what they're doing, they will execute at a high level. They'll figure it out along the way. The ones that keep getting ready, and they have to have everything I's dotted, T's crossed, and they love all their spreadsheets before they even have a client, are the ones that struggle the most. Oh, Mark Brenneman, he's not even around anymore. So there's some agent curriculums that you can look at. And like Michael said, we have a lot of resources here at KW. So here's some of the agent curriculums that you can get, that you can look at. An agent launch is this annual unit production of 0 to 16 units. You might want to look at Ignite. And you might want to do time management with the 411. Those things can be found on mykw.kw.com, and you can go over and you click on either agent resources or leadership resources. It seems like they change them all the time. Agent curriculum for growth. If you're at 6 to 36 items or units, you might want to consider lead generation 36-12-3, which is supposed 36 transactions in 12 months for 3 hours per work of lead generation. Win with buyers, win with sellers. Those are a couple of other classes that you can take. Sometimes those classes are in the region, and sometimes they're available by taking them online. Agent curriculum for achievement status. 36 plus units, the MREA curriculum, which is the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, the Red Book. The Leverage series of career visioning. Career visioning isn't just for people who are that red teams. Career visioning is for everybody. It lets you, honestly, one of the biggest impacts it had on me, and I think it was before I even started building a team. I think that's when we were down in Texas together. It got me to understand, believe it or not, that not everybody thinks the same way that I do. And that was mind blowing for me, honestly. As much as you don't understand the different types of personalities that people have until you're exposed to it. I didn't know when I didn't know, so I would get really upset if somebody was if you're looking at referencing the disc, if somebody was a very high C person and they had to have all their I's dotted, their T's crossed, if they questioned everything that I did through the real estate transaction, because I felt like they were testing my integrity. They were questioning my integrity. And so that really, really struck down into me. So that's what career vision helped me understand, is working through the KPA and understanding how the KPAs and the disc profilers work, that's how you can understand how to work with your clients in a better manner. Because there will be some clients that you get, and there have been several, I've taken my phone and thrown them across the room after I hung up the phone, because I feel like they're questioning my integrity, but that's just how they're wired. And that's what you just have to kind of know. Leveraging the 30, 60, 90. Anne Marie's like, what's that? I do that too.
And she goes, why'd you look at me? I said, because I can see you doing it.
I mean, it's just how it's happening.
Just to clarify,
Yes,
phone, not client.
that's exactly right. Yeah, it's just a phone. It's just a phone. That's right. And so leverage series, the 30, 60, 90 and success through others, that all comes together. Class. So some of the other agent curriculum levels, they're on your all's papers. Grow your profit share tree, wealth building workshop for profit share, and quantum leap. I think that's, Mike, isn't that one you're trying to work on? So that you can teach quantum leap? Okay. Are you doing that? Yeah. 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 So you guys will have all of these in, like illustrated. Another thing you guys can look at, some of the books, just so if you're familiar with some of the real estate books. The MREA is the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. That is like the red book, like how to run it. I mean, I still can't, some of the stuff still blows my mind, but every time I read it, I'm in a different place. Millionaire Real Estate Investor. Flip is another one that you could look at, how to find, fix, and sell houses for profit. Hold was written by our regional owners, Linda and Jimmy McKissick. And it talks about finding properties and then holding them long-term. Shift, and Michael Prather, we're supposed to start a Shift book club soon, aren't we?
We're talking about it. We've had 2 Mondays so far, but right now we're just sitting at.
What do you mean you have for 2 Mondays so far? You didn't tell me about it.
Hey, read your text messages.
I didn't get no text message.
All right. Well,
Anyway, we're gonna talk about this later.
Yeah.
All right, so Shift Commercial. So Shift Commercial is another one if you want to know about how to work that. Shift's really good in general, and just MREA is
I
as
didn't know
well.
it was a ship commercial.
One thing, we talked about that book earlier today.
Ship commercial? I've heard that. Yeah.
One thing book, like it shows on your page, cut through the clutter, achieve better results in less time, build momentum towards your goal, dial down the stress, overcome that overwhelmed feeling, revive your energy, stay on track, and master what matters to you. And that's what this whole business boils down to for me is, there's really no, and then other curriculum, you have MAPS coaching, KW Connect, that's a great place. It's kind of like real estate Google. You go there and type in what you want, and it shows you a bunch of videos from all these other people. Exercise plan. You don't need to talk about this with your teams. Most of you guys are on teams. If you're not within your ALC or your group, this is called the growth plan. The growth plan is something that you should be putting up every single year when you're doing your business planning in the fall. So growth plan is something like, what are you going to do to move your business forward? A lot of these things are going to be taking some of those classes we just mentioned, reading some of those books. And as a group, we all need to start thinking about growth planning. What'd you say?
Downline.
Downline, that's right, profit share. Yeah. And then really learn to commit to learning. Think strategically. I mean, I know my group doesn't know this yet, but we're going to start really participating at a high level in some of the regional events. And we've already started talking about going to some of the national events as well.
Mo Anderson is coming to our region
Oh, nice.
in Columbus.
Nice.
It's in June, I'm pretty sure. Coming up quick. I'll give you a question, in Columbus. And that's gonna be an amazing opportunity. 'Cause that
Yeah.
lady, you know, will not be
She's unreal.
within this company, you know, much longer.
Yeah.
She's in good health, but she's in her eighties, but she is the daggone, you know,
Yeah,
spiritual giant of this company.
yeah, she definitely is. So think strategically, leverage KWU to build your downline. So on that, on this stuff with being learning based, really get into that. Like Michael was sharing earlier, that needs to be the number one thing that when you're filling out your calendar for the year, what things do you want to go to? You always need to plan the year before because some of these events are pretty expensive. Mega camp, you know, if you have a mastery maps coach, then you get to go to Mega Camp, not for free, but your ticket's covered, which is usually about $1,000 a person. Mega Camp is about $700 or $800 per person, and I can't remember what the masterminds are. But yeah, and then you got hotels, which they always like to jack up the prices around those events. And then you got your plane travel most of the time.
Which is all right off my head.
Yeah, it is. If you've got the money to do it, or you have to budget out for it. So on this page, 73, mark this too. 73 needs to be a page that you guys exercise your work with your teams on and your boys. If you don't have a team or group, call me. You can come in and sit on my team. Okay.
It's just the plane you're running.
Number 73.
From July the 27th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. O. Anderson.
Okay.
July the 27th. We'll make sure we get it out there, but I just wanted to grab that. put it right
Okay.
there.
Rent a party bus.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes. Come on, Michael Fraser, come on. Come on.
As he said, he got a spending problem. He got an earning problem.
Now, come on, man. We can all chip in. I mean, I'll chip in on that.
Carpool.
Yeah. Okay. Now, let's go through step number 5. We've got till 1 o'clock, so it's 12:23. We'll be able to knock this out. High achievers remove beliefs from their thinking that hold them back. All right. They really need to update these files, honestly. Think about a time in your life when you've had a limiting belief you needed to remove. And I don't feel like my sign-in sheets by paper are a limiting belief, Michael Fraser. I like it. Just saying. If I call me out earlier, saying I have a limiting
I don't
belief.
think I was talking about that. Oh, it was the technology that you saw that you were.
Yeah, that's
We
right.
used to do a different thing too. We would have one of our mortgage people say, register here to get a free iPad. And they put their name out, they put it in the box, and that would actually be where we get our information from.
Oh, yeah.
Michael does it with the TV. Do you have a TV in Richmond?
Tour homes.
Yeah.
I think we're better served to I just never could read what people wrote down.
Oh, yeah.
And so
That's true.
I just think if you're gonna do a sign-in sheet like that, just write it yourself.
Oh, that's right.
You know, and here's my little trick of the trade is, you know, let's just use a new construction house or just an existing home. So you have a copy of a seller's disclosure or a plat or a floor plan, something, deed restrictions.
Email it to your team.
That's right.
You only have one copy.
You just hold back what, you know, when you have something of value they want, they'll give you everything. You know, name, phone number, email address, you know, you want a free valuation on your home, what's your home address? You know, and you don't, may I have, hey, what is? You know,
Yeah.
There's just assumptions that you're taking, and so you just gotta find your mark at, you know, as you're building a relationship with them, that they want something that you have, great,
Mhm.
fantastic, I'll email that to you, what's your email address?
Yeah.
Your mobile app, you know,
Yeah.
get your KW mobile app, get that on everybody's phone, so when they go click on it, they're looking at you, not Zillow, teach them to get to that. Hey, what's your cell number, and I'll text it to you right now. Now you got their email, now you got their phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
Yeah.
our agents that are more tech savvy, not very many of them use this, and I don't know if everybody knows if they use this, but Cole and I will create a QR code.
Yeah.
In their open house, so then they just scan.
Yeah.
And it'll pull in from their phone, their info, and then if you've created a landing page and then they get the access to those things right there on their phone, and they can
Perfect.
download your site.
Yeah, I love the
And
QR
it'll
code.
tell you, like,
Yeah.
where they came from, like,
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
we have them for specific addresses, so
Yeah.
like, if they check in, then it'll tell us that this came from this open house.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome. I love the QR code thing and Techno. We had another thing that we did, yeah, techno is what I call it. Time to start dancing.
I'm so sorry.
That's right. Another thing we did to draw people in, if it was a open house, is we kind of created those little clipboards with and give them to give feedback. So they're more like to fill out their name and stuff if they're able to get feedback, you know.
I know Brooke does that a lot. And she's
Yeah.
had good success with that.
Yeah. 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 And people they like to give their opinion. Yeah.
To that point right now, I think we all just overcomplicate this business, that it's just about daggone face-to-face, belly-to-belly contact,
Yeah.
communication. And, you know, lead generate and get a listing and tell the world about it.
Yeah.
Get that sucker pending
Yeah.
and tell the world about it.
Yeah.
Close it, tell the world about it, you
Mhm.
know, walk around that property. You know,
Mhm.
I was just talking to an agent in here and looking at pendings and close, where's your business coming from? For that agent to have an aha that they were all inbound leads, not outbound.
Mhm.
So that was their big moment to go get your butt in gear and put outbound, because they were having, I call the cherry on top, inbound leads coming in. Those are, you know, somebody literally called, that was a house away and said, hey, I see that you got this listing and we're
Yeah.
thinking about listing our house. I'm like, well, that's great, but what about the other 10 people that didn't call you, that
Right.
might be thinking it too, that you can very quickly door knock?
Mhm.
So open houses are free.
Yeah.
right? So you think about not having to buy, you know, internet leads or anything. Don't get away from the
Yeah.
basics of this business. Get a
Yeah.
listing, hold open houses, you know, and go actively
Yeah.
participate around it.
Absolutely. And I think that's where getting back to the basics is what it's all about. Think about a time in your life when you had a limiting belief need removed. How did you remove it? If you did, or if you're still carrying it around. And what new successes became your way once you removed that limiting belief? Ask your partner for one limiting belief she has that's holding them back. What steps could your partner take to remove this limiting belief? Switch roles, and what action steps does your partner think you could take? Incorporate these into your 411. So, do you all want to do this exercise?
Yes.
All right. All right.
Overwhelmingly.
Partner up.
I'm already doing.
All right, partner up. So.
Be healed.
Yeah, so you guys are gonna go to page
Yeah.
81.
I need to find. Like you said, I'm going, okay, I leave early, 'cause I've got these calls during. This phone calls for probably hours. You know, possibility, this guy's looking to buy, this guy's.
Yeah.
house wants a motel, this guy wants investment properties.
Grab my purse, I'll grab it.
So this one here, dads and daughters were opportunities for what happens when you find the realtor, which happened when I used to find the realtor. So what's good about this one is for a house. That's the one that's listings realization. The one that I still know. 2-3 pages. This is what you get when you hire me. This contact information. And so you say that's what you get from me. I was so I do like listing presentation, buyer presentation.
Yeah, I sent it to you.
Right. And that's what I'm used to. So for me to use that, is you have 80% of people.
Yeah.
And I just.
Yeah, we're gonna read.
Right now, like you're at the conscious incompetent phase.
That means you know we don't know. And then you have to do some patient. If you're and then that last.
And there was a few pages back or something.
So this is appointments. This is what you have for the school. And you don't even need to have a conversation. This is what I need. This is research.
I wanted it.
And just make- Right.
That's the conversation.
And then you open up the yeah, so house, you have to try. What's happening?
All right, guys, start wrapping it up. We're gonna start moving on. Okay. So what are some of the things that you guys, what are some of the ahas you guys had by doing this exercise? Did you guys get a different perspective from what you thought versus what the other person thought as far as the recommendations go? But you two,
I'm sorry, say that question again.
so did you help her solve a problem or did she help you solve a problem with a different perspective that maybe got out of your limiting belief way?
I don't know, we didn't talk about it. We should have.
She was so eager to get in there. This counselor's great.
Yes.
Oh, you want to talk about me? This counselor's an idiot.
Anybody else who actually had a chance to switch partners back and forth to talk?
We did, but ours was kind of already solved.
Okay, okay.
Well, I think my example might have talked to, or been a good example of what you're talking about, as far as like having someone else's perspective on
Yes.
a limiting belief. So I shared that before I worked with the Breaker team, I worked for a YMCA. When I first started, I was the director of fitness, and so one of my main roles was to create fitness programs to offer the community. And trying to get out of just the rut of this is what we do, because this is what we do. I would go to my boss with these ideas and he would say no before the idea was even fully pitched.
Right.
So about year 2, I had this conversation with him and I was like, man, you're killing me. Like, I cannot continue to work for you if you're gonna just tell me no every time I bring you an idea. His perspective of that was, I'm not telling you no, I'm trying to get you to think of the issues that could come up because I want you to come back to me to solve those issues like the black hat thinker before we put this program in place, because we want to know we've thought through all of that. And that was getting his perspective on my limiting belief of him telling me no all the time was a game changer in my career with the Y, with him as my boss.
Like having answers to all those questions before they're asked.
This is something that, accepting what that situation is, whatever it is that there's, and I'm gonna read this, and Michael knows where this comes from, but it says acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. When I'm disturbed, it's because I find some person, place, or thing or situation, something in my life unacceptable to me, and I can find no surrender until I accept that person, place, or thing, be exactly the way it's supposed to be at that moment. Nothing, absolutely nothing happens in God's world by mistake. Until I could accept my problem, I could not stay okay with it unless I accept it completely on life's terms. I cannot be happy, and I need to concentrate on not so much what needs to be changed in the world, but what needs to change in me and my attitudes towards that. And so what it's saying is, you know, you have to accept it and look in the mirror. What are you going to do about it? You know, you can wish it away or you can figure it out, but until you take the action and accept your part in it, you know, mine's retirement. I'm damn near 60 years old. I don't know. Being 59 years old and I don't want to work till I put me in the grave. You know? So what are you going to do about it? Well, you need to start taking 25% of your check and putting it away or investing it or doing something. Now I can talk all about I want to, but until I set up that account and talk to a financial advisor,
That's
I'm
exactly
just
right.
whistling in the dark.
Right.
Gee, mom and dad, the wind stopped blowing, you know?
Well, and I think, right, Jeff.
I didn't know if I could take that. Now, when did the
But-
wind stop blowing?
I can come up out of the cells.
But some of the times, do you not think, and this was something hard for me to come to grips with. Do you not think sometimes our limiting beliefs have everything to do with our ego? Yeah. We think things have to be one day.
Or confidence, but
Yeah.
I think it could be either way.
It's all fear based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fear.
Fear based all the way attack is gonna be coming from a point of scarcity. It's a fear of some type, which is ego, which is false pride.
Yeah. And also, sometimes when you have that limiting belief, you put yourself in a victim mindset. Put yourself in a victim category versus, let me figure it out, let's move forward. So, for example, a victim does not seek reality. They ask no questions, then they fight the reality, which is a denial. Then return to the life happens box and work through the responses of an accountable person. While walking through this model, sometimes everybody feels like a victim. So as you're going through that process, whether you do it again or you go back and you revisit some of this material, understand that you continually need to ask yourself if you are staying out of judgment of both yourself and others. Remind yourself to continue and move forward. And this is a quote from Steve Maraboli, an author of Unapologetically You. And it says, your complaints, your drama, your victim mentality, your whining, your blaming, and all of your excuses have never gotten you even a single step closer to your goals or dreams. Let go of your nonsense. Today is a new day. That's brutal, man.
I love it, yeah.
That's brutal.
That is.
But but that's the kind it is. You can go, okay, well, I can, figure out what my issue is and I can move forward and ask other people for help and figure it out, or I can just keep on living the way I am. Get it together.
There's two words that keep on coming up, and I've been told this: obedience.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, you need to be obedient to what this
What
is,
you commit to.
and just commit it, grow the heck up.
That's right.
You know,
Obedience is accountability.
Yep.
so those two words.
Final section is step 6 is be accountable. So you're going to see on, all right, are you a victim or are you accountable? So victim people they don't seek reality. Make sure this matches. Ignorance, denial, rejection, deflection, resignation. This victim is a status quo. Nobody told me I'm under deflection. It's not my job. I did my part. I was never given a chance. It doesn't work here. I did what I was supposed to do. It didn't work. I can't think of anything else to do. Under the projection of 1, it says, if everyone would just do their job, it's not my fault, it's yours, the market is to blame, the economy is to blame, why didn't you do something? In reflection to that, or opposite of that, are you accountable? Awareness. What is the situation? Clarity. This is the way it is. Got it. I'll see what's going on. Energy and focus. If it is to be, then it's up to me. What do I want? I've got to do something. This is my responsibility. Find solutions, possibilities. Where are my options? What are my options? How can I get what I want? What can I do? And you get on with it with an action plan. Let's get started. Time's up. Let's go. I think that's what it says. That's hard to read, isn't it? So this is what I'll do. I was never given a chance. Okay, let's do it. Let's go on with it. Accountability equals change. Accountability is first and foremost an attitude and an approach to your entire life. An accountable person says, everything in my life is a result of my choices and actions, and I own my life. Accountability is also a tool for continually changing the results in your life. In those areas that matter the most are 20%. A person who's accountable to the 20% says, I own my life, and in certain areas, I want to continually improve my results. I'll be purposeful and I will be learning based on continue improving. For accountability to continually change your life, you must acknowledge that it must become a dynamic cycle and not stay just a static concept. Yeah, look at this one. Course page 85. Where is that at? I guess it's part of it. Yeah, being a victim doesn't seek reality. Being accountable seeks reality. Being a victim fights reality. Being accountable acknowledges it. Being a victim blames. Being accountable owns it. Being a victim has personal excuses. Being accountable finds solutions. Being a victim waits and hopes, and being accountable gets on with it. Yeah, Mark Weiss isn't here anymore. All right. 10 minutes left. Oh, Mark King, look at that. Look, up here on the slideshow from the back in the day.
I like it.
Yeah. So this will be something else that you guys can do this exercise. We're not going to do it today. But think of exercise accountable versus victim. Think of an issue or problem you're struggling with right now. You'll have 2 minutes to complain about your problem with, no. We're not doing this. After 2 minutes, return to your seats. Utilize the be accountable steps, work through and write down the necessary approach to resolve this issue or problem. Young player, you're okay. All right. So now, accountability. People in Mark King's box. Does anybody know who Mark King is? Yeah. All right, we got you. Who is it?
Well, I know him as the guy that does the one thing Facebook page.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is now our president.
President
Keller
of
Williams.
KWRI.
Yes, so Mark King has worked up through the ranks. I know he's worked with our region for a little bit. He done stuff for our region, and now he's president of KWRI.
He started off as an investor flipper,
Yeah,
and then he made it into getting a real estate license, thinking, hey, I can go help myself buy and sell. And he's like, well, this company's pretty cool. Let me try out the team leader role.
mhm.
So this guy's gone from, nothing to the president of KWRI. The guy is stronger new road. He's amazing. He's probably just shy of 50.
So he is, for him, high achievers have somebody holding them accountable on a regular basis. Keller Williams is deeply committed to accountability on all levels, whether you're a new agent or president of KWRI. Mark King exemplifies accountability at the highest level. He has someone held accountable in the financial, spiritual, physical, and business areas of his life. So these are the people that hold him accountable. So think about that. Do you guys have these boxes? Do you all have somebody that holds you accountable in each one of these? Dr. Jason Fung, what's up? I like him.
Not grandpa. I never had a grandpa.
It's on page 94.
I've got an old version that's a teacher manual, and it's got Mo Anderson in there
Oh, does it?
versus Mark King. So she's
Yeah.
got kind of financial.
So.
Dunmuth and Paul
Oh.
Woosley. Yeah, I don't know who those people are.
So this right here on page number 93, this is an exercise that you guys can do on your own. This is who is in your all circles. Who is in your box, which in the circles. So who do you have that helps you for financial, spiritual, physical, and business? And are there any areas where you're missing somebody to hold you accountable?
Only 4.
Everyone.
And if so, it's time to take action to fill. Who are you gonna add? And by what date are you gonna add them? Yeah, write a date on your page and get it figured out before that date. That's, they could be. They could be, yeah.
And it could be people that you never met or. will
It could
never
be. I mean,
meet.
some of the things, and I'm sure they'll say it here in another slide or two.
One's gonna be extra.
I mean, you've got things that people that can hold you accountable. If you're on a team, it's your team can hold you accountable. People in the market center can hold you accountable. Team leaders here, MCAs here, they can definitely help. Productivity coach can help you be held accountable. People in the ALC, any of your peer groups or anything like that. I think there's a group of realtors. It's Sandy and Sandy Allnut. Who else? Sandy is like Jenny. I mean, there's all kinds, like 3 or 4 from different brokerages that actually meet with each other on it. Yeah. Yeah.
I think Sandy's one of them.
Yeah, she might be in that group. And so they're from different brokerages, but they hold themselves accountable. I mean, they talk about business and they meet together. So whatever kind of circle, it could be a friend group, it could be family group. I mean, just whatever, somebody that'll hold you accountable. And they'll tell you there's some other things that will be, the MAPS coaching, the courses, the group coaching and things like that. And then also with the KW websites, the groups on Facebook, you can find accountability partners there. So on page number 95, be the accountability you wish to see in the world. Accountability sessions should be short and focused, no longer than a half of an hour. It's not time to socialize, it's time to conduct business. And you and your consultant should use a 411 action goal sheet. Accountability, here's a model. What's your goal? How'd you do? How do you feel about that based on how you did? What's your goal now? What do you need to do? That's it. No need to overcomplicate it. Just go by it. Is there anything that might keep you from doing that? And if you needed training or support on this, what would that be? And that's how you do that. That's how you handle the accountability. Career growth initiative. Oh, wow. So are we even using this still? Career growth initiative? So this is something that they did.
No, the growth initiative is wrong.
Okay. No, that was page 78 for you to do something with your team.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So CGI used to be something that they used to do back in the day, but I do.
John Davis.
John Davison. But I do want to tell you guys, tell you a story from that. When we used to do CGI, we used to do CGI calls every week. And so people would come up to the third floor conference room at the other office and we would come in and do CGI calls. There was one thing on there that really stuck out to me, and I don't know why it did. But there was one guy that moved to a new area. He was an individual agent by himself, and he went into, and he was one on the CGI call. And then you always talk about different sources of lead generation and getting very specific with how you run your business. And here's what he did. He got very specific with, I want to go to social events. So his job was to go to 2 social events per month. I don't know if he's getting drunk or what, but he's having a good time. And it could be like an event, it could be a community event or whatever. But here's the criteria. There had to be at least 20 people there that he didn't know and 1 person that he did, so he didn't seem like a creep. So you could at least say, hey, why are you here? Oh, I'm just here by myself. No, I know Vanessa over there. Okay, we just came here to hang out. You're not a creeper. So his goal was to collect 2 people that and add to his database each month, or 2 people, so it'd be 4 people a month. So by the time September came, he had 35 people added to his database. He was a little bit lower, but he had closed 28 transactions from those 2 parties a month. Because he got very intentional about connecting with people there, finding out who had a need for real estate in that next bit. So it doesn't, that right there's always stood out to me, because it doesn't matter if you're a new agent, it doesn't matter if you're new to an area, just find a plan, execute it, move on with it. I mean, that's it. All right, so.
When you think about all the social media little, groups that there are now, whatever your hobbies and passions are, you can intertwine those.
Yeah.
Because it's just getting in.
Trish is doing that.
Yeah, just getting in contact, you like craft beers, you like bourbon, you like running. I mean, there's a gazillion Facebook groups and they have commercials on TV about it, right? And so think about how you can just go join those groups to satisfy something that's of interest personally for some balance. But then you go or communicating those things, being purposeful, not entrepreneurial. And you tell yourself, I'm going into this, birthday party, whatever it is, and I'm going to get in a conversation with 2 people that I'm going to find some business.
Yeah.
If you really put it on your mind, more times than not, it will happen.
Yeah.
But you got to be purposeful about it.
You do. Yeah. So to wrap everything up, to become a high achiever for each perspective, write down the one thing you'd like to implement, circle just one. Share your one thing and brainstorm a game to achieve it. Remember, it's all about you. Thank you guys for coming today.
12:59.
But I think
You
you
said-
can start joining these like groups of golf leagues, so you can start talking.
There you go, Jim.
I did, actually. You get to play all over the country, guys, that's members of all different clubs.
Yeah.
This thing's powerful. I'm gonna share this. want to share this financially, who's in your circle, especially I know one is direct my sponsor.
Partner or a trainer, somebody teaches the gym.
There's a guy, coffee shops. It's 4 people. What it does is, it's been passed out.
All the classes.
Those are videos. You had to go to some classes. I don't think you're going to pursue. Yeah.
That's good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. See you later.